to the 3P Podcast. I'm your host, Darnelle Turner. Today we are here with a very, very special guest, someone who inspires me and someone who definitely he is the definition of overcoming a situation that he's been through. So first of all, I want to shout out to Reset Fitness for allowing us to use their space to record this podcast and bring this motivation to you. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to
Daniel Quarcoo.
Man. So just tell the people a little bit about your story and what you've been through. I don't want to introduce it because I want it to come from you, and then we're going to dive into some little bit of some questions that I have for you.
All right. So on June 15th, 2021, I was actually hit by a car. And I was basically left on the ground, just waiting for my head and everything. And it left me with a traumatic brain injury. But I was unconscious for about 2.5 weeks. I had to relearn how to walk, had to relearn how to talk, had to relearn how to breathe by myself. But we're here now.
Wow, man. So take me to that. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure you talked in depth about that day and everything that happened, and I know I was reading a little bit, or I was reading some of your stuff that you have on your page as well about everything that happened, and also listened to the podcast that you did, and tell me a little bit about the recovery stage of it.
The recovery honestly is still ongoing until today, but I would basically want to start with the support system, because without my support system, I wouldn't be able to make it as far as I did today. I do want to start off first and foremost with my wife, obviously. She's there every step of the way. She never left my side in the hospital. She was there when visiting hours started, and she left when visiting hours ended.
Wow.
And she even got good with the staff there, that they let her stay a little extra.
Wow.
But I went through inpatient therapy. I had occupational therapy and physical therapy, and then that went around from, I want to say, up until July 6th. And then after that, I transferred to outpatient therapy, and that's when I had speech pathology, I had physical therapy, and I had occupational therapy. And honestly, if you'd have asked me this question or we had this conversation last year, I wouldn't have been talking as well or as fluent as I am now.
Wow.
Now, granted, if I do get excited or anything, then I start to mumble and fumble over my words. But other than that, I think we're making good progress.
Oh man, one thing I will say, listening to your podcast that you've done, and just talk, hearing you speak and everything like that, I can definitely tell that you're making those progresses. And one thing I want, so there's one thing that I got out of listening to you speak, and the podcast that you did, it was about a year. So how long ago was that?
The podcast it was honestly a year ago around this time.
Okay, yes. So a year ago. So one thing that you said in that podcast that really hit me is you said that when you first wake up, you don't feel anything because you're just it's dark.
Correct.
So it's just regular for you. But that process of getting up, once you turn the lights on, and once you look in the mirror, obviously, and you start to realize that wasn't a dream. Take me to that moment when you first woke up and you're was this really a dream, or did this really happen?
When I woke up in the hospital, when I woke up
just that thought, when you're thinking, when the lights is off and you're okay.
So when the lights are off and I wake up, I don't know I have an issue because everything's dark. Mm-hmm. But when the lights come on, then that's when the things start to happen. These glasses aren't prescription. They have prisms in there. There's a prism facing up and a prism facing down because I have double vision at the moment. But like I said, in the dark, everything's normal because everything's dark.
Yeah.
But when I first woke up in the hospital, I was asking my wife, why am I here? What am I doing here? And I tried to get up, but I couldn't. And then I was very combative with the nursing staff to the point where they had to strap me down to the bed. Because I was trying to get up, and I also had a fractured back, and I didn't know. So I was trying to move and everything, don't move. I'm no, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm trying to get up. So they strapped me down, put mitts on because I had a brain sensor in my head. I had a drain port or something like that in my head. But yeah, it was definitely like a rude awakening. Like, this really happened?
Wow.
Like you playing, right?
Right.
But and then after I realized what happened, or after my wife told me what happened, I asked her. I was like, "Are you all right?" Like that's the first question I can think of, because like, I mean, I've been through a lot of stuff, but so has she, and her watching me go through this probably took a toll on her.
Wow. So okay, that opened up a whole new round of questions in the whole Pandora's box. So for me, so I have two questions for you, and for me, this is one that I struggle with as well. And I know, listening to you and just knowing your story, how much of an ego hit have you taken from this? Because as not only as men, just as people, as humans, we have this certain level of ego that we carry with us, and I can tell just from conversations we had in the past, and just even seeing you at the bar, and we'll just have conversations. We're the type of people that like to move.
That is a fact.
I don't want to be told where I'm at. Like, exactly. I'm out. I'll see you later. So, what kind of ego hit was that? Because obviously you couldn't do everything by yourself anymore.
It was, from scale to 1 to 100, it was like a 97.5 hit. Because like you said, I couldn't do anything by myself. Like, I had to have assistance walking onto a sidewalk, walking off a sidewalk, walking in general. They did give me a wheelchair when I first got out of the hospital, but I told myself, I'm like, I'm not using that. Like, I didn't get a handicap placard because I'm like, if I get a handicap placard, that's going to stop me from progressing in my journey, because I'm going to be closest to the door. I want to be the furthest from the door, and I will walk slow until I make it up into the front of the door. But yeah, it was the biggest ego hit, because I couldn't drive, so my wife had to take me everywhere, or a friend had to take me everywhere. If I wanted to go out, someone had to pick me up and then take me out with them. I'm like, this is not me. I usually just get in the car and go and meet you wherever.
Right.
But yeah, it was bad. And I think the thing that hurt the worst is, as you know, like, I'm really into fitness, but I can't jog. I can't run. I can't do anything. I can speed walk now, but like my left, I guess we'll reverse. My entire left side is uncoordinated. Okay. My right side is entirely numbed. So it's like I'm able to work through it, but like if I was trying to jog, it'd be like my right foot would go heel to toe like normal, but my left foot would just like drop. It's like drop foot. Yeah. So I'm still working on that, but yeah, that was definitely an ego, because like once I was the fastest person in high school. From the day I walked in to the day I left, I was the fastest person, one of the fastest people when I went to college. But I had to, now I'm starting over from scratch, because I don't have anything I used to have. Wow. I can't jump. I used to be able to dunk. Can't even jump off the ground that high anymore. Can't do anything.
Wow, like that. So that also brings up another realm of life for you, because everything that you've done up until this point, I don't think that it's a different feeling when it's something that you've done, right? Sure. Let's just say, like someone that got drunk and got into a car accident, you know what I'm saying? For that mindset, you're like, damn, I wish I didn't get drunk and go and crash. This was completely something that you had no control over.
No control. I was walking across the street.
Like, tell me about your feelings when it comes to that situation, and has that situation even gotten any progress with trying to get justice for?
Somewhat progress, yes. Is there full justice? I don't believe so, but I will say there's partial justice. The feelings I have about the whole situation, I worked on myself and had therapists, but like I had to go from like waking up every day very upset about this person and the situation to just like, I have to put that behind me and focus on the future at this point. But it definitely, like, sometimes every day I wake up like, how did I end up in this situation? What did I do to end up in this situation? Right. My therapist told me that you can't say why me, because when you say why me, it's almost like saying as if it was supposed to happen to you. Right. So you can't say that. So I had to change my verbiage. So I'm just like, we're here now.
Yeah. Wow, man, like that. And but going through that, it's for anybody else, like just looking at looking at the situation that you were in and looking at you now, like just even like this is the first time. Honestly, I think this is the first time us being in a room since like maybe like honestly we're two new different people.
That is a fact,
right?
Yes,
I remember specifically there was one time where I seen you at a bar. And we were both probably just like, I'm out, see you later.
Exactly.
We just going to the bar, right? And I seen you. And, it was in one of my lowest moments because that's where I used to go to kind of just, get away and tap out, And I remember we used to always have really, really good conversations.
Exactly.
And so it's like we're both meeting each other for the first time in a long time again. So one question that I have for you, especially on the fitness side, right? Because this is really what made you decide to run a 5K?
If we're being honest, so when I ran the 5K, that was supposed to be my time that I was supposed to run the 10K, because like I was before the accident, I was practicing and like training for the 10K. So I was gonna like take that rest of that year off to get ready for the following year.
Wow.
But I ran it because I felt like I owed it to myself. Like, and at least for me to get back out there and like, all right, cool. I might not be able to jog the whole way, but I'm gonna jog some of the way, and I'm gonna walk half of the way, and I'm gonna jog again. But I definitely felt like I owed it to myself.
Wow. Like, so what would you say that you got from that experience? Because one thing that I love about running, one thing I love about fitness is that you learn so much about yourself through that experience, right? And not only did you go through that endeavor and learn about yourself, but now you were a new person going through that, and also, like you said, you had to train. It's one thing training your body to do something, but now you're training your body to do something that now it's not even used to doing. Like it's not even, you weren't at a fitness level to do that. And you had to train yourself all over again while training yourself to just do the basic things. So, what would you say you pulled away from that experience?
One of the biggest takeaways from that jog was basically everything. It's like jogging, some part is a mental game. Like if I tell myself that I can't do it, then I'll jog for like 10 steps and then stop. But if I tell myself, no, you're gonna keep pushing, like whenever your legs start to get weak, push through that pain. So I'll jog for like 4 blocks. You get what I mean? Right. So it's like it's all a mental game. Yeah. And like I said, my legs definitely felt it afterwards, but they thanked me later.
Yeah. Oh man, like that's big. Especially to take that away. I always look at life. Period. No matter what you're going through, is like you're stacking those little wins. I tell my wife all the time, we got to celebrate those little wins, those little victories, because the truth is you compound on those, right? And you just it's hard to do races. Like it's hard to go out and do a race. It's hard to to do a lot of these things, but nothing's harder than real life. Right. And some of these little races that we do, or these fitness bouts that we get into, we're like, man, this is cool. That was hard, but as no one can tell you right now, like there's nothing harder than waking up and having to relearn how to live again.
That's true.
Right. So let's go back to your support system. Your wife, and you said you had to check on her to see if she was okay. What was her response in that moment?
I think she said yes, but I feel like she said yes to comfort me. So, and this is at the first hospital, so like I don't remember much from the first hospital, but like this is for me and her having a conversation. But she said yes, and I feel like, but I know she was all messed up. She did tell me that there were times she wasn't sleeping, she wasn't eating because she was too busy worried about me. So she had her support system that she can fall back on. While I fell on my support system was her and like our friends at that moment. But she fell back. Like I remember she told me a story like one of her cousins had to come over and like make her get in the shower, make her food, make her eat, and like sleep in the same bed with her so she can fall asleep and get good sleep so she can get up the next day and come see me again.
Wow. That, man, like having a support system is so big in this situation, and I think that I think we always talk about support systems, and especially being married, we always like, man, I want to be there for my wife, I want to be there for my partner, and it sucks that it had to be that moment or that tragic of a moment that you guys had to show each other, that your dedication to each other.
That's true.
What have you learned in that moment about marriage?
Seeing like marriage is not 50-50. I will say that. Marriage is like 100-100. So when I like where I like she picks up and where she likes I pick up. So but like at that moment I didn't even exist at the moment. So she had that 100%, and I was just like I was laying there breathing on the ventilator. So that was all her. She had to make the tough decisions about my life. Like the doctor asked her if she wanted if she wanted them to do like all kind of measures, like the highest measures they can do to save me. She was like, yeah, why wouldn't you? Because remember, I wasn't breathing by myself, so they can easily like pull the plug and I'd have been done. But they told her, she told them, oh no, you better save my baby, basically.
Yeah. Wow. And that's a big responsibility, because not only are you tasked with the decision to keep alive, but on the other side, what if what if it wasn't such a fight? You know what I'm saying? And to be tasked with the like, do I take you off of life support if it got that serious?
Yep.
So to put that on somebody, man, and I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like
nowhere.
It wasn't like y'all planned it. You know what I'm saying? It was just like you were tasked with this responsibility to make sure that your spouse stayed alive and that you fought for that for your significant other. So
that's so.
Yes.
Real quick, add this real quick. So and that also put into perspective that all couples in a relationship or marriage, everybody argues and go back and forth or whatever. But that put into perspective that all those arguments we had in the past were very petty because of something so traumatic.
Right. Wow, man, that's a perspective. You know what I mean? Because you really realize, like you said, a lot of that stuff means nothing, because if my life or your life is on the line, or am I going to be like, I don't know if I want to say this, man.
Exactly. I remember when you said.
Oh, that is hilarious. Okay, so give me a little bit of introspection. I don't even, is that a word? Introspection.
Make it a word.
So let's get introspective right now. Your whole journey this past year, how long has it been since the accident?
A year and a half.
Okay. So this year and a half, so recovery, support system, just your fight, because a lot of people don't realize that not only is it important to have a support system, but mentally you have to be strong, man. Like you couldn't do nothing. Like you're a different person.
I am.
You know what I'm saying? So take me to you now. Where are you now in this whole journey, and looking back, how has this situation made you better?
I feel like I did a 180. Back then, before the accident, I was a person, let's bring this ego back. I was a very confident person in everything I did. Like, you put me in front of that, I would do whatever it takes to do it.
Right.
But now I'm like, now I second guess everything. Like, is that really necessary to do? Should I really be doing that? Is that going to benefit me in my current situation? Right. But so it just like it made me think more. Made me think a lot more, and still till to this day I'm on antidepressants because I definitely slipped into a very, very dark place. And luckily, like, people don't understand how interesting a traumatic brain injury is because, like, it's one of those silent disabilities, or like it's a non-visible disability. Like you looking at me, or you looking at me, y'all wouldn't know that I have a brain injury,
right?
Or you just talking to me, seems like we're just chopping it up right now.
Right.
But so people don't know to treat me differently. People don't know that if they're whispering in my right ear, I can't hear them because I have my right ear is constantly ringing all the time. Let's call it tinnitus or tinnitus, whichever way you would like to pronounce it. But yeah, everybody just treats me like I'm the same, even though I'm different. I love that people try to treat me the same, but nobody takes into consideration that I actually have a disability.
Right. Yeah, I think that your story, brings out the humanity in you. You know, because a lot of people would just like look at the situation and be like, man, like this situation happened, and then here you are now. Because like you said, if you look like when you first came in, man, I was like, wow, like you, like look at you, like you look like good, man. But one thing that I love about fitness, and I love about just real stories in life and talking to people, is that there's another dialogue that we have with ourselves, right?
That's true.
And that dialogue that you have with yourself is different than what you had. So you're literally in two different, you know what I'm saying? It's like you live two different lives, because now your dialogue is different. Mm-hmm. So what keeps you going, man? What keeps that drive in you to keep doing it? Because obviously your story now, you're taking what happened to you and using it to inspire other people. Mm-hmm. So what drives you? What's the engine behind the man that I'm seeing today?
I feel like there are two big things. One, as I am a very heavily motivated person, I've always have. Oh, wow, see, I'm getting excited. See, I always have been. So it's like the previous me is a motivation for the current me, because like I know I was there, so why can't I be better than that person? So that person's like the bench. But like I like to use the term like, why would I be 100% when I could be 120? So I'm gonna go for 120%. So I'm gonna pass that person that used to be.
For sure.
And the second thing is my neurosurgeon, the one that actually did everything. He was I had my first follow up with him, and he was like, you know, from looking at your records of whatever happened to you, like you are blessed, because people that went through the same thing are still drooling out the mouth, some of them. And I'm like, wow, okay. So with that being said, I feel like I need to be the voice for those people who don't have one. Yeah. So it's like I can't just stop and relax and quit, because like, not saying that they're counting on me, but I'm counting on me for them. So like it's like I'm gonna do what I can for them. Like I started looking up like things at Children's Hospital to see if I can get in there and talk to the little kids with brain injuries, things like that. But yeah, I'm trying to do whatever I can to inspire. That's why I created that page.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I think you're doing more than most people would do, because I know most people go through traumatic things and they're like, this is me now. This is who I am. I know that this happened, and the progress stops. They're just like, I'm blessed to be where I'm at, right? But you're taking that blessing farther in saying, like, how can I reach people? How can I help other people that don't have the voice that you have, or that can't even be articulate like you are? Exactly. You know, you're such an inspiration for me, and even for my wife. I remember having a conversation, and she was like scared to do the 5K, and she was like, but she talked to you, and she was like, you know what? I have no excuse. I'm gonna go after this. So, and even for me, man, you know, just seeing as I'm training for these marathons, and I'll see like a video that you post, and you're like, oh, I'm up at Highland Park and I'm just doing my thing.
Yes.
And it's just like, man, like, you know, I'm sitting here like mad because I got a 5-mile run or a 10-mile run, and I'm like, but he's up here doing his thing, so I have no excuse. So, and I think that once people really get to know you, and once they get to really know your story more, and as you keep getting better at what you do, I think that you have a big presence in this world to inspire people because you're already doing it just by who you are and where you're at now. So, man, like, one of the things that I love about doing a podcast and just talking to people, I get a chance to get into their mind and really see what drives them. So, one of the questions that I love to ask people is, so give me a book that you've read over the last year or in previous years that kind of points out where you are with your journey.
That's a very good question. And I will plug this book every chance I get. So pre-injury, obviously I read and I listened to books, but I was just listening to them as background noise. But post-injury, there's a book called The Gap and the Game by Daniel Sullivan. And it basically talks about what we talked about previously. And it's like people focus too much on the gap, like, oh, I want to be there, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then if you don't set if you set that goal too far, it's like now you're going to be less motivated to reach it if it's over there. But like it's all about those little victories. And before you even go to the little victories, you have to focus on your gains. So what you have to do is turn around and see how far you've came. So it's like, don't worry about where you want to go, look how far you came. So like, I think he says it like you have to measure success backwards. So don't look for it, you have to see where you came from. Like, cool, I want to be there. Like, I want to run a marathon. I run a 5K though. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I have to focus on me running a 5K. So it's only up. It's up from here, basically.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. Like. And that one, so that book, and I love what you said about that because there's one experience that I was going to talk about in my next podcast breakdown of my race that I did, and I remember running. And I remember thinking, like, and there's times where I seen people who were faster than me. There's times where I seen people that were slower than me. There were times where I seen people who were bigger than me. There's times where I seen people that was fit, and I'm like, it's 3 miles in, and they tapped out. We got 26.
Yep.
Right. So one of the biggest takeaways from the marathon that I did was there was a guy who was an amputee, and he was on a skateboard. And we were 19 miles in, and we were about to go to a hill. And I'm sitting there like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. This is pain. And I seen him, and I got this jolt. I was like, why are we complaining? You know, and I think that that's what we do in life. We're in our head so much, and we don't look at the gap. Or we look at the gap, but we don't look at the progress. And sometimes it feels like you're being ungrateful, right? It feels like you're like you get into those situations where you're like you said, why me? And then you're like, but you're here to do something about it. You know, you can actually do something about it. So that's a really, really great book. I love books, man, and that's. So did you have another one for the afterwards, or that was just for?
That's life. That's that book. I read that book at least like once, or I listen to the book. Sorry, the book. I listen to it once or twice a month.
Wow.
Like I vibe and I connect with that book so much. I'm pretty sure I'm probably about to know word for word.
Period.
Through the whole thing.
I like it. Okay. All right. So another one of the questions that I have, and this is because music is so personal to me. What is a song that describes the moment that you're in now? Like a song that you can go to right now, and it can just describe where you're at.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna take it back a little bit.
Go do your thing. This is your story, bro.
I'm always in my head, like you said. And sometimes, it's so noisy in there that you really can't listen to a song. So I have music I listen to with no words. So it's like it's lo-fi hip hop. If I'm getting to one of those zones, I just turn on some lo-fi hip hop and I just relax and I work and I just keep it there. Or I listen to some smooth jazz, also no words.
Nice.
And after I get back into the right mind state, 2 songs that I listen to almost every day, if not every day, is "Sorry Not Sorry" by DJ Khaled,
Okay.
Nas, and Jay-Z.
I like it.
And "God Did" by Friday, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, and DJ Khaled.
Wow. Those are that's what I call prestigious hip hop.
Those are anthems.
You know what I mean? So what about, like, tell me something about those songs that that put you in the place where you need to be.
So some of the lyrics in "God Did," I feel like
God did.
Yeah, and God did.
God did.
Yes. Like, it was to the point, like, I have tattooed wings on my back because I feel like I'm here for a reason.
Sure.
And like I when I first woke up, I told me and my wife are like, we're spiritual, not too religious. But she said when I woke up, I said something about heaven. She's like, what? So I'm like, I might have been there. You probably told me it wasn't my time, so I got the boot. So I felt like I got the rings on my back for a reason. Not a reincarnation, but I have them on the back for a reason. And Lil Wayne says, "Sky's the limit. Every day I reach." They tired of waiting on me, now they're dead asleep. Like, say stuff like that. And it's like, listen, y'all can go to sleep on me if you want, but I'm gonna keep going. That's it.
Man, like that's impactful. So, man, I don't want this to end because I have so many things to say. So for anybody that's going through a hard time, not even people who haven't had a traumatic situation, because like I know, living in your head or being the type of people that it don't take much for you to get inside your head and tell yourself that you're not enough or whatever.
Self-criticize. Self-sabotage, self-criticize, self-everything.
All of that. That's me. What is some advice that you have for someone who's going through a hard time, going through a traumatic situation? Anyone who out there, what message do you have for the people?
It'd be, don't give up. It's literally seek help if you need it. Go get a therapist or talk to that close friend that you know is non-judgmental, no bias, or nothing. Just speak out so you don't internalize everything. Because when you compartmentalize, you self-destruct. So I would just say, talk to somebody, reach out to somebody, or get a therapist, and just never give up. Stay motivated, keep pushing forward.
Man, I love it. Keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. Man, like, I think that really sums it up, man. I think that your story inspires. So it's inspired me so much to keep going. What's next for you, man? What's next? What is the next goal, man? What's the next milestone for you?
The next milestone. Honestly, the milestones are a little interesting. Like, obviously milestones are spread out, but every day I wake up, I have to be better than the person I was the day before. So it's like those are like those small victories that will lead to that next milestone. But I don't know what that milestone is. But I do know in March of next year, I have to speak again with the occupational therapists, physical therapists, and nurses at Duquesne University, those students, and then tell them like the do's and don'ts and how I was treated and how I felt about everything, because every single one of those people I had a nurse, I had an OT, I had a physical therapist, I had a speech person, I had everybody. So I got a chance to go there last year, so I'm gonna go there beginning of this year, so I'll go there next year as well.
Wow. What would you say is next for your brand, for is it Daniel.Inspires?
Daniel.Inspires.
Daniel.Inspires. What is something that you plan on doing to further your message for people?
I do want to start making little short videos for either YouTube or Reels for Instagram or Facebook. I want to start making little shorts just to get my message out there in general, because like as we all know, technology is the way of the world now.
Yes.
So it's like, you might as well get in where you fit in. And listen, the way I can be different from everybody else is not everybody has a TB app.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can speak on it. I can say motivational content. I can do whatever I need to do just to make sure people hear it.
Yes. Well, man, I can't say it enough. I think that your story is inspirational. Tell the people where they can find you, your story, and learn and read more about everything that happened to you and how you're overcoming it.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Daniel.Inspires. I have a TikTok as well, Daniel.Inspires, and I do have a link tree that you can find on that Instagram page.
Okay. Okay, cool. And so this is the one last. This has been on my. I wanted to wait till the end, but this is what I had. Like, I was thinking about this. What does overcoming, in your own words, what does overcoming mean to you?
Ooh, that's deep. How come you asked me this earlier? Overcoming means like you're defying the odds. So it's like you were met with a task and you overcame that task. You were met with an obstacle that was in your way and you pushed past or moved past or jumped over or hard under that obstacle to get to that finish line. That's overcoming anything.
And clearly you've done that. I mean, you're continuing doing it. It's
Yes,
never, that's one thing I've learned is there's no end to progress. You can always progress, and if you ever think that you are at the level where you learned everything, chances are you know nothing.
Correct.
So
There's never a period, there's always a comma.
Man. So man, thank you. Thank you to Daniel, man. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. I was looking forward to doing this for a long, long time. Thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you, Reset Fitness, for allowing us to use your space. And man, keep tuning in. Check out Daniel's story. I think that he has so much to give to this world, man. And he's going to continue it. I know it. And just tune in and see y'all next time. Peace.